Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 24 post-episode recap, episode number 5, hour 5, the hours 3 to 4, however you want to define your 24. It gets a little confusing with 24, calling it all these different kind of episodes, and especially considering that the first episode was a two-parter, so it was actually 2 episodes in one that we got all one shot. So this is actually the 5th episode of 24 Live Another Day, and I have to be honest, going into this episode, I was excited for this season, and I was happy with some of the things that were going on, but this episode alone, the things that happened in this episode really got me completely excited for 24, simply because this was, in some ways, a Jack Bauerless episode. Jack was only in it for 2 or 3 scenes, and I was still captivated by the episode. I can tell by Joe's face that he wasn't, but I was still captivated by the episode. I think Kate Morgan is a character I'm very much starting to like, and I can't wait to see where this is going to go with her and Jack's relationship as partners. We figured out that Benjamin Bratt is not a rat. He's just an idiot, and he might be dead. Oh, that could be interesting. And Catelyn Stark is evil. Margot is evil, and so is the daughter. Sansa's just as bad. And we got rid of a lot of problems, got a lot of answers, and I like the way that this season isn't really messing around. It's kind of just getting to it, because something what Joe was saying last week about there just being 12 episodes, so they're kind of like getting right to it. But anyways, sorry about that. Welcome to the post-episode issues. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button, and please, if you have anything to say about Jack Bauer or any 24 stuff, comment away. And you can also check out our Game of Thrones casts and our Walking Dead casts and Breaking Bad stuff if you're interested in any of that while you're watching. We'll also be doing a couple other shows coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. So on to 24. 24. I need to get up early in the morning, so I want to get through this 24, and it's fast-paced, so we're going to get through this thing enormously quick. With me, as always, here, one of my main squeeze here of podcasting right now, my co-host, Joe Dirty Locks. How's it going tonight, Joe?
It's going good. It's good to be here again this week.
Yeah.
So like I said, I didn't get to see the beginning half of 24, and over the last couple of days because of some personal issues, I haven't gotten a chance to really watch the beginning half of it again. So the first half of this will go quick. And I just want to say those faces are all based on just the second half that I saw, and the whole time sitting there going, really? 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 Come on. Obvious.
24. And this is where I'm going to have to go with you too as we get more into this episode, Joe, because you have, in fact, and I've come down to it. We finally can get to the truth here. It's Homeland, and I have not watched Homeland, but some of the complaints I've heard for this episode in particular and this season with the drones and everything, that this is apparently very, very, very similar to a certain season of Homeland, and this is the same creator. So some people are calling bullshit here. I particularly have not seen that, so I can't call bullshit, but you might be able to, as we go on here in the next 6 or 7 weeks here, to finish up 24, you can clue us in if they do something unique, or they stay just to the same drone thing, which apparently has been done before, even in the same location before. So we'll see about that. So our episode starts out tonight, and I'll get Joe up to speed as we get all you guys up to speed and talk about what happened at the beginning half of 24 tonight. Kate Morgan, which it's really seeming, especially in this first 24 act, I feel like last night, in a sense, Monday night, was the end of this particular quarter of 24. I think you can see these 12 episodes are probably going to be split into 4 or 5 episode story arcs.
Right, we had the first 4 episodes, Jack's on the run. Now the next few episodes, Jack will be in custody. We'll have peripheral people doing a lot of the work, getting set up for what I think is going to be a spin-off program.
Well, we'll see about that. I'm not convinced that Kate's getting out of this alive, or because of what's happened with Benjamin Bratt, that Kate isn't a rat. I don't know. I'm not.
I just feel like Benjamin Bratt needs a project more than just one season long. I feel like this blonde chick that's running the whole field op thing, kind of, someone really wants her to have a job in Hollywood. Period.
Are we going to find out that she's? that she's Jack Bauer's other daughter, because every time I look at this girl, I can't help but think Elijah Cuthbert. Like, she looks so much like Kim Bauer. Is this Kim Bauer's real mother? We're gonna find out that Terry Bauer really wasn't wasn't Kim Bauer's mother, and this is the bastard mother, or what do you call that? The paramour of Jack Bauer. So Kate Morgan, our hero here, is told by the Marines. And Joe, just to go to your spinoff theory, I don't completely disagree with you if it wasn't 24. 24, I expect her to die by the end. I expect Jack Bauer to get her killed. They've tried this before. This is where, having not seen a couple of seasons of 24 leading up, almost every season in the last couple of 24, they tried to do this in some way with either a male character or a female character that eventually became Jack Bauer's love interest or something like that, and she ends up dead. So I'm not doubting that Kate Morgan might end up being crow's feed by the end of the season. That pretty little face might get pecked away by some crows. I'm not putting that against what's going to happen here. So Kate is told by the Marine in charge of the embassy and says that she's going to be fired for all the mess she did in the last episode saving Jack Bauer. But she's not impressed. She doesn't seem to care. She's like, oh, whatever,
She was already on her way out back to a post that she didn't want. You know, she was getting transferred somewhere out of London to a desk in some other place.
Yeah.
Yeah, she, you know, as a punishment for what her husband had done that she didn't notice. So her career was already over, so any threats of ending her career are going to fall on deaf ears for the most part.
And exactly, because she's also had a pretty difficult last couple of months dealing with the shit of being interrogated every day. We get a little bit of that backstory in the first couple episodes, that she's been in an interrogation booth for the last X amount of months dealing with this crap. So she's probably just ready to get the hell out of there. She's like, these people that were supposedly my friends, my colleagues, they don't give a crap,
Right.
or for whatever reason. So.
And Brad even highlights that in the episode before when he says to the computer geek in the office there, you know, whatever it was, some snide remark about her not catching any of the shit in the first place.
So Jack in the last episode slipped the little disc, the flight records to Kate, and the Marines are asking and they're searching Jack at the beginning for it and looking for it. And Jack and Kate have a little bit of a Jedi mind connection there. They look at each other and they communicate without ever actually talking. And Jack tells her to just get out of there, and they're like, wait a second, don't leave. So Jack fakes wrestling with the Marines and pushing them to give her a second to get out of there while they rough him up a little bit. So there's a good communication between Jack and her, and she also gives the Marines the big dick slap across the face when she says to him, listen, he shot at you, but do you think a guy like Jack Bauer, if he wanted you dead, you'd probably be dead? He shot at all your guys, he beat up all your guys, and surprisingly, none of them are injured.
He got all the way here, but nothing.
Yeah, none of them are injured. They're just hanging out in the back having coffee over there. Look at those two dudes. They just got shot by Jack Bauer. They're happy. They're like, hey, I'm selling this bullet on eBay. Jack Bauer's a friggin' he's famous. So Chloe gets on Kate's earpiece and she's like, I heard what you said to Jack. Are you gonna hurt Jack? Is Jack okay? And so Chloe's right back to normal. She's settling right into her role. If she just washed that eye makeup off, she would be back to 100% Chloe. And she asks what they need to get the data together. She says she tells Kate to go get to a computer to upload the data into there. So this is where we get Ritter coming in, and Ritter asks Kate what happens, and she says she managed to get them not to kill Jack. She went in there, she did what she had to do.
Which one's Ritter? Is the secret?
Yeah, as the dick is the guy that wanted her job, the head of field ops. The other
right.
guy,
Yep.
And she basically says, I have the evidence that Tanner's drone was hacked by Margot al-Harazi. We need to get the proof up. Chloe O'Brien's going to help me. And this guy's like, oh, Chloe O'Brien, she works for Second Sons, or whatever the hell their organization's called.
Yeah, he seems to be a bit of a... he has no original thought on his own as to how to... He's only about following orders, it seems. He has no critical thinking value to him whatsoever. And every time someone makes a decision in front of him to do something, he questions, why are we doing this? I don't get it. And he's proving all the same thing. He's been standing next to her the entire time.
Now, Joe, is that because of...
No outside box thinking.
Oh, sorry. Could that be because he is the rat? Could that be because he's playing dumb to get as much information as he can to pass that information on to the enemy? I know
either that or he's going to be fodder. It's either that or fodder.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah, he's a red shirt just waiting to go down.
And according to the end of the, I like that. According to the end of the episode, he could just be dead now. I'm not sure if we see him at the end of the episode. I have to watch it again, but he could be in that rubble. We could have lost.
It seemed to me like they. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So she asks Chloe what she needs, and she says she needs a 4G hookup. I'm stealing this from one of my favorite podcasts, the post episode recaps over there, and they brought up an interesting point here, as we've talked about this a little bit too. By the year of what it's supposed to be, by 24 logic, technically it would be year 2023 or something like that. So they probably should have more than a 4G hookup.
6G.
Yeah, they should be. They were saying in the other project 28G hookup.
Well, maybe they might have that, but for Chloe is on a fixed income, so she only has 4G technology, which is kind of fast enough.
Right, and that's what someone was saying. Maybe she was saying you need at least a 4G,
right, to run this program.
So she says get to a computer.
You could trade it all in for just a G spot, though. I'm sure.
In your dreams, you and your Chloe fantasy.
I like that black eye makeup. What can I say?
You just want to bring, like, Princess Diaries Chloe. You want to, like, bring her, give her a makeover, take her out on a date and stuff. I know, you constantly, you bring that up. You're like, Chloe's a really pretty girl. I mean, I get you. I'm taking Kate Morgan out for steady this weekend. So Margot says that she has the proof and she's going to upload it, and Chloe's going to start the upload. So they hop in their SOV and they take off. Ritter drives while Kate pops open the laptop, contacts Chloe. They start to have the thing. They come to the point, we have the proof we need. We have the proof that Tanner was set up, that our Jedi Knight is in fact safe to go train with Master Luke Skywalker and be the next Jedi warrior. Get him off 24. We don't need to see that kid again, and then we don't see him. He needs
to go film.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. J.J. Abrams has him on lock and key right now. So after this point, by
which you saw that contest, I gotta just mention it because you brought up JJ. You see the contest he was running with the puppet?
Yeah.
That fucking awesome.
Not too much into Star Wars, but I think it's very interesting what he's allowing to be seen in that one little picture, showing that he's having a puppet right there on set. That's a not so subtle fuck you to George Lucas. So
it's more than that. It's also a nod to him.
Yeah,
George wanted to go a different way. That was the technology 30 years ago, and he wanted to use the most current what he had been working on with his studios. So,
but my last point in Star Wars, and we'll definitely do some Star Wars coverage as that comes up. You and me will go see that like opening night and do a podcast right afterwards. But the main thing about the J.J. Abrams thing that I think he's gonna make a very pretty movie and it's gonna look good. The script depends on a lot, but no doubt he's gonna use a combination of both. I mean, hell, they cast Gollum, Andy Serkis, in the role. You think he's going to play himself? No, he's going to play some CG creature of some sort slithering around. And as long as he's not going, Misa, Gollum, precious.
You'd figure they'd have enough footage they could just buy all the CG, all the film footage of him just moving and all the ways he moved from...
But they'll do it up. I think J.J. Abrams is looking to really play with him in the same way that they played with him in Planet of the Apes and maybe finally get this guy an award for the amazing acting that he does. I have a feeling Andy Serkis is going to be a big part of this movie.
He didn't win an award for any of those things?
No.
I mean, that's like...
No, it's ridiculous because they don't consider him an actor and all that stuff, but I think he is one of the finest actors working some of the work he did as Gollum, because that's his body and his face. That's everything. And then, especially what he's done in the first Hobbit movie as Gollum, I think that scene alone deserved him some sort of recognition.
In the Hobbit movie?
We gotta stop. here. So Simone gets...
Hobbit movie?
The first Hobbit movie, yeah, is really good. The Gollum scene in the first Hobbit movie,
if we're just talking about one scene, okay, but...
If you don't like that scene, you don't have a soul. So Simone gets medical attention for her severe finger, and she's shivering in pain as her mother sits beside her and rubs her shoulder and tells her that don't worry, honey. I don't blame you for cutting off your finger. Don't worry, young one. I don't blame you. I should have known what your husband was doing, and if I knew, I would have killed him a long time ago. I'm sorry. It's my fault your finger got cut off. So Simone passes out, and we go to Navid downstairs at the computer, and he asks Margot how Simone is, and he begs for 10 minutes alone with her. Please let me have 5 minutes alone with her, 10 minutes alone, anytime. And I set all the stuff in motion. The bombs are going to set off in about 30 minutes. You don't have to worry about it. Just let me go talk to my wife. So she says, okay, redemption begins now. You kill lots of people. Maybe you'll make it up to me. You go and talk to your wife.
So I think maybe this is where I don't know. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't see that part.
Okay, so the next scene that we get after this, and this podcast has taught me one thing: we definitely need to do a Star Wars and Hobbit podcast later. So Adrian and Chloe are talking, and they're looking at the flight key data, and she tells him to look harder because she needs to find the proof that Jack Bauer is innocent, because Jack wouldn't lie. Jack knows this is true. So he sees something, which I think this is one of those scenes that seems a little peculiar to me, because he... Steve says he just came in and turned on the podcast and we're talking about the Hobbit. What the fuck? Sorry.
I know, right? A little bit off topic, but...
A little bit off topic.
Back on it, dude. Sorry.
Back on it, dude. Sorry. And I think it was a little weird how quickly Adrian, I don't know if you saw this scene, Joe, but Adrian spotted the code that was supposedly the information that
No, I definitely didn't see him catch it. I came in from basically where I think I'm remembering the first scene I saw was husband telling Simone, "I planted this."
Okay, I planted. That's coming up in a second here, or that
or maybe I saw the move on the house thing first, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" Or no, that came afterwards, right? Yeah.
So Adrian and Chloe are talking, and they're looking at the flight key data, as I say, and Adrian spots the weird code just as it's scrolling by. I know we're not supposed to think this guy's a good guy, but again, I know I'm just not trusting anybody. But this Adrian Cross guy, maybe it's again because he played an evil guy. It's again to go to.
So you're saying he caught the code that shows that the drones were hacked, that proves the pilot's story that he isn't responsible.
And he saw it just as it was scrolling by. It just seemed
before all the people who are well informed about these programs and that have been looking at this and programmed these drones, they didn't spot it, but this guy who hacks was like, boom, that's it.
Exactly. Chloe can't even see it herself, you know?
And that makes me think that he had something to do with it as well, that he had something to do. Because if we remember, Patrick was part of this, the guy that sold this crap to Simone and her mom in the first place was part of this organization, and I really feel like he had knowledge of what was going on.
He's more of a part of it than has been officially declared yet. And part of it, again, like I was saying, is the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Last Action Hero. And I think any action movie or TV show you need to address to the Bible, which is Last Action Hero, when they see the guy from Mozart that killed Mozart, and the little kid goes, "That guy's the bad guy," because he's the bad guy in every movie he's in. And this guy, Adrian Cross,
the Crow,
he's always the bad guy. He's always the bad guy. So there's no doubt that this guy's going to end up being some
sort of bad. He has to be. Exactly. You just know. He's always the bad guy. He's the face you've seen in a million things as the bad guy.
So Chloe calls up Kate after this. I jumped the gun on this, and she calls.
I commend you on your Last Action Hero reference. That was really.
It is.
You pulled into the bag of goodies and you came up with a nice one. You really did.
But even though it was just a bag of goodies thing, it's still, I think, as bad as that movie is, when they cross into movie land, there's a lot of gold.
Oh, yeah. With what is it? Stallone as the Terminator in the movie store. That was.
Yeah, it was his best picture. But I think all action movies, in 24 being another one of the big action things, has a lot to do with it and has a lot of focus. They're making it clear out to be a good side, outside the law, but he's on Bauer's side. I hear what you're saying, dude, that he might be on Bauer's side, but in 24 usually...
Chloe's making that point. Adrian is making the, even though they're still bad about it, because Jack had to make the point before too. If you think he's not doing harm by releasing, or the Secretary of State and what's his name, or the advisor and the president, if you don't think he's not doing harm by releasing 4,000 documents or breaking into things and that are going to get American soldiers killed, you're wrong. Yep. This information is going to destroy treaties, is going to destroy, contracts between countries that are just...
This is why I love talking about this show, because everyone that can listen to it and watch it can have a different perspective. The dude thinks that it's more like they're all going to be working on the same team soon to fight Margot. So we'll see how this all goes. So he isolates them and shows the codes, and Chloe says that they have the proof, the Tanner, and she calls Kate, and Kate calls Jordan, our Milo Jr. guy at the CIA, who's getting a little bit more camera time and is seeming to be like... just a lap dog that goes, huh, what, huh. Another one of these sort of stupid red shirt guys. I don't know. Something weird about this guy, too. And I think, 24 likes to, and I know they did this in the first season, they do this a lot, they write a lot of parts, a lot of people could be the rat, and then they decide as the series is going who makes the most sense. So I think they're putting a lot of maybe smoke signals at a lot of people, and him being, going with the code situation, then we find out the riddle, the switch up in a little bit with the code that Naveed left that we're about to get to. He kind of goes, oh, I missed that. Oh, I didn't miss that. So if he's supposed to be a genius working at the CIA, we have a lot of dumbasses working there. So
yeah, it really seems so.
So Navarro comes over, and Kate sends him the screen grabs from the flight key, and he asks Jordan to say what he sees, and he says it's an override code, and Kate says this is proof that Catelyn Stark has used the Jedi's drones to kill the test in Afghanistan. I was gonna say to kill a battle droid, but I think I took it too far. So Dave Navarro here. I keep wanting to call him Dave Navarro. It's so cool that we have Dave Navarro. I think we have a perfect references in this season of 24. So Navarro tells Jordan that he can't have any doubts, and that he needs to know for sure before he contacts the president. He needs to know for 100% sure that this is the real deal. So he says, I'm 100% certain, because he looks at it for 2 minutes and he knows that he's 100% sure. He looks at it on the screen with a bunch of guys looking at his back. The CIA really crosses their I's and dots their T's. They are so hungry for this Jack Bauer to take over things. This couldn't be more of an open path for Jack to go in there and just start and just completely take over this organization. That we're just these people are completely inept, because they are.
The end of this episode pretty much shows that straight on.
Everybody but Kate.
No, including Kate.
Well,
including Kate.
Navarro.
I'll get into why when we get there.
Now, this is where we start to get into some of the stuff I really liked about the episode. The president gets the call that Jack is safe and that the embassy is secure. Navarro calls Mark to try to intercept Bordeaux over there to intercept the call, but Navarro pushes to talk to the president, and the president puts him on speakerphone. And we get the speakerphone. We get Heller hearing about Jack for the first time, hearing everything that's going on. Navarro says Kate found the evidence that corroborates what Jack is saying, and he's like, oh my God. Jack Bauer's right. I'm going to have to eat so much shit from Jack Bauer. Damn. He was so pissed that Jack was right. And she says that Margot has the device and can override the drones, and there'll be more attacks soon. That he needs to immediately take action, and people are going to die. She sounds exactly like Jack Bauer. You need to take action, or people are going to die. Heller tells the general to ground all the drones worldwide, as the general goes, you can't do that, what are the Russians, and blah, blah, blah. And he says, I don't care. Do it. Stage 4, DEFCON 4. And he pushes them all, and they all go offline. And Margot starts seeing what's going on, and she gets her son and to stop what was going on, so they could at least control. I think they say they control 6 drones. Six drones. And
somewhere over the mid-Atlantic, and they're on their way to London.
Yep. So the general shows Heller that the drones are responding. Most of them are shutting down, except for the 6. And the drones are live. And here we are. It's
Dun, dun, dun.
3:13 p.m. Dun dun dun. All right, that sounded more like Law and Order music. But
Dude,
whatever.
dude.
The general says the missing drones are the first strike weapons and each have like 6 laser-guided super missiles that can take out half a city block. He says thousands of people could be killed if it hits a nuclear facility. Things could be catastrophic. He says that the drones are heading to London and they could be in the airspace within the hour. So Heller isn't happy, and they scramble the jets and the ships to try to find them. Heller starts swearing and says, "Fuck, I need to go talk to Jack Bauer." Mark says they already have him and he's on his way in, and they're going to be talking to him in a second. And Mark says this is where we get a little bit of Bordeaux showing that he cares. He says he feels responsible. But Heller says, no, you did the right thing. You thought you were doing the right thing in this whole situation. I thought I had heard all the same information you said. I think Jack Bauer is crazy. I didn't listen to him either. And he says we have to warn the British authorities. And Audrey's a little hot and bothered as she walks out the door and catches a glimpse of Jack Bauer. He follows her out and says, "Are we all right?" And he says, "I wasn't arguing the facts. I was letting my personal feelings about Jack cloud my judgment, and I let her father down." And Audrey says she knows that he's trying to protect her, but he can't blame her. He doesn't blame him for this. He's what her dad needs right now. And then she walks away. And Bordeaux looked pretty sad. Like he's been letting down the president. Like he's upset about something that he's not letting on. Like he has more that he's really upset about there.
It's not about the president. It's about the chick.
It's about the chick, and it's about losing his wife, knowing that
he realizes she still has feelings for Jack Bauer, deep feelings, not just like.
Look at that guy. Yeah, that's Kiefer-Sutherland. He's cute. So Kate and Ritter arrive back at CIA. Navarro's giving them the briefing on Margot and her kids. He tells them that they're likely in the country and they're using everything they can to try to find them. Kate comes over and Navarro drags her off for a chat and goes blah 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 blah. You've been doing really really good, and I know you're the only person that's doing really good, but the guy from the embassy, the Marine from the embassy, filed a complaint, and this is the last straw. This is the last straw, Riggs. You and Murtaugh
getting too old for this shit.
We're getting too old for this shit, and you're off the job. And so that's that. And he says he argued on her behalf, but it's already gotten too heavy, and she needs to go file an action report on everything and then get the hell out of there. Yeah. Navarro says and again, this is what Joe was talking about. He mentions again that he knows that the only reason why she's working so hard is to make up for what? And he says, he quotes it the same way every time, to make up for what your husband did against the United States. But you should feel happy for what you accomplished today. He tells her that she will get through this. And then
which is contradictory to what he said last week to the computer kid, which was, no one ever recovers from something like that.
It's because every time he talks to her, he's patronizing the hell out of her.
Yeah, oh yeah, big time.
And I think it's because beyond him being a rat, which I really don't think so anymore, I think he is. It's just one of those things, and we psychoanalyzed him before. I think he's projecting his emotions. He's transferring his upset and his feelings of everything he's saying is actually how he feels about himself for not being able to judge his best friend. Because you get a couple comments at the beginning about how they were all friends. So It's the same thing as like if I ended up being a terrorist spy, you'd probably be pretty pissed off that you didn't know. Steph would be like, how could I not know that Phil was X, Y, and Z? How could I not know this? And you'd be like, I'm upset too. You don't think I'm upset? But you might be like, yeah, why didn't you know, Steph? You should have known. You're with him every day. Come on. So it's understandable why Brat's being a brat here. Sorry.
And that being said, people have spouses that cheat on them for years with multiple partners, or single partners, have multiple wives in different states, like serial killers who live with their spouse that go around killing B2K or whatever the hell he was.
What's easier? To be a spy or cheat on your wife? I would say
it's the same thing.
I would say being a spy is probably a little easier. It's easier to lie to your spouse about that rather than lie to your spouse about being intimate. I think because it would be a professional thing in your mind. You don't always tell your significant other what goes on at your job, and you can kind of separate your mind from it. What goes on at work stays at work, especially if you work certain jobs where it's not, where stuff's classified or you sign contracts.
And then true, if the other person does have genuine love for you, they are blind to certain things. They make excuses in their own head as to why certain things happen, and they ignore, things that shouldn't possibly have ever happened without, I don't know.
No, we talked about this before. It's true that you want to, when you care about someone, you can ignore certain factors, and especially if you're a counselor of some sort, or if you have a certain issue or certain job that you handle certain business at, and then you go home and you're dealing with the same problems at home, you might not be able to identify those problems because your work brain shuts off. And I'm sure that's what happens. Kate's such a hard-ass agent that when she gets home, she gets all gooey and lovey with her husband and probably doesn't think about work, or she gets real dominant and controlling, who knows, but and again doesn't think about whatever she's into. I don't want to assume she's a submissive, but because she's a girl.
Food, if that's what she's into.
Whatever she's into. So he says he argued on her behalf, but it's already gone too high, and she's busted. She has to get out of here. And Jordan calls Navarro out and says he found a posting on a jihadist website from Catelyn Stark, and I mean Margot al-Harazi. And we see Margot discussing the drone strikes and that targeted her husband, Ned Stark, the true warden of the North, and a legitimate activist dubbed as a terrorist in the United States government. She says the strike killed 23 people, including 6 children. She blames Heller for the tragedy and says Heller has has 3 hours to surrender himself, or thousands of people in London will die. He needs to surrender himself to pay the price of killing my husband, and this needs to happen. And yeah, it's a pretty serious video, and it's a pretty great. We've seen this sort of scene a lot in movies and television with the terrorists talking to the camera and everything like that. I think she pulled this off excellent. I really enjoy her acting on the show. I think she brings a level of.
She does crazy real well.
She does crazy real well, and she also does evil really well, and like vengeful really well. And I feel like it's really
she
allowing.
Incorporates all the real juicy parts of woman real well.
well, anyway.
That just got me the doghouse for the night, yeah, but it was worth it. It was so worth it.
So the laughing will get me in the doghouse when the podcast. But I really do think this actress brings so much to the table here, and I don't want to get too far into other things, but I really love seeing someone.
Spoiler alert: will she play Lady Greyheart?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to. No spoiler alert with that. What are you talking about?
Later on in 24.
Was she gonna play Elijah Cuthbert's mother-in-law?
Yeah.
Lady Cuthbert?
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? If you know what we're talking about, you listen to this point. At I got issues, man. Hashtag Lady Cuthbert. So it's 3:28. Open cell watches Margot's announcement, and Adrian says they need to go. He tells her to come along, and they need to start packing up their stuff. He says, "We've been in line with the CIA, and and we've been talking to the president in the White House. We're connected. We're sticking out like a sore thumb here. We need to get out of here." And it seems a little quick. Adrian just wants to get all of his stuff, wipe the computer drives, make sure no one can connect any of this to him, because I think there's more to this connection with him than meets the eye. So,
yeah, I definitely saw this scene.
So he tells her to come along, and he says the whole operation is compromised because of the CIA, as I said. And he says, "What I did to Jack was wrong, but I was trying to protect them, all of them." And he says he will not lose Open Cell. And he tells her that he loves her. I thought that was... He says, "I love you." So are they a thing? The showmance between...
I think they had been a thing. I think they had been a thing up until she
Jack's
got
back
caught. Up until... I didn't hear you, what?
Oh, no, I think you're right. Up until she got caught by the CIA and was being interrogated, right?
Yeah. Okay. Which in that point right there alone, I'm very shocked that they didn't leave where they were at in the first place, where she got caught.
Right. No,
Where she just disappeared, was off the grid. You know, one of your top people like that you haven't seen in 3 days or 2 days or whatever it is. You move.
You figure that they probably were considering that she wasn't going to rat no matter what happened. She does know. I mean, it's like when you get Jack Bauer blood, it's like getting Claire's blood in Heroes. You start to heal. You get that extra tough, can be tortured blood. She's been tortured by the best. They just, back in the old CTU days, they used to just have Jack Bauer torture everybody. That was a fun Friday night at CTU headquarters. So they show Heller the drone strike that killed Margot's husband, and they see what they think is Margot crawling out of a wrecked building. An erect building. No,
yeah, and that was like the rubble all around. She just landed on top of the rubble. It was pretty nice.
Speaking of Gollum, she looked kind of like Gollum slithering out of there in her belly.
Down the mountain.
My precious husband was killed. Do you think it's a little weird that she got out of there without seemingly unscathed, and it just seemed like a weird? Are we convinced that tape was real?
As far as seemingly unscathed goes, that puts in the assumption that she was this stark raving lunatic, hungry murderess that cut off her daughter's finger. And she actually alludes to that too. She says, my husband knew that I did what I had to do, sleep with men. So she was just as much a terrorist beforehand as any bit. So yes, it is kind of weird that she came out of this seemingly unscathed. She alludes to it to the daughter earlier in the season, that the daughter has to do these things because it's in the name of what we're trying to accomplish, just like she had to, and her husband knew that before he died.
Yeah, it's just silly rationalization to do these evil frickin' things, is what I think. And
well, of course it's silly.
It's silly, and again, I'm not maybe
how do you rationalize that in your head, like, oh, my husband died, so 10,000 people in London need to die now too.
And they have like that close of like camera angles of her crawling out. It just seemed it seemed like a little bit of a setup shot. I don't know. It's like, again, let's review the Spaceballs. I keep quoting Spaceballs. Let's review the Spaceballs cassette here so we can see the camera angle.
Rewinding.
Exactly. We get the close-up angle of Margot climbing out of there. I don't know. It seemed like that was almost a setup propaganda video of some sort. I don't know. Like this, there was a little sign in those television shows where it's a reenactment. This is not real footage. This is a reenactment. Like I felt like there was a little thing in the bottom. Should put a little thing in the bottom that said this is a reenactment. So but we're gonna take it for face value. Margot's crawling out of the wrecked building, and Heller sees that there were children there and asked why he wasn't told about the children casualties, like the civilian casualties.
He needs to be able to look above it, be above reproach, and say, no, we never kill the wrong target.
Right, that's what Mark said. And he said there's no such thing as a pinpoint military strike. Civilians die, and we wanted you to be able to take the high road.
And to a certain point, I gotta say,
do you agree with him? Do you agree with Mark there?
To a certain point, I agree with Mark, and then to another point, I have to say, what kind of idiot is the president that he wouldn't already actually frickin' know this? When you go bomb someplace to go kill a terrorist, there is a percentage of the time that they're going to have a child with them, or they're going to be with their wife and family, or there might be a school next door or something that. Why wouldn't you, if you were terrorist and don't really have that much of a care for human life, put your office next to a school building?
Yeah, I hate to say this, and
terrorists have kids who have to learn and eat and live someplace as well.
I don't think Heller's a good president. He's no David Palmer. He's no Serrano. He can't hit the curveball. Jabu can't hit the curveball here. But I think this is actually pretty accurate in the sense that in 24, especially at the very beginning with David Palmer, we had someone that was supposed to be an extraordinary president. Then we had with Charles Logan, we had an evil president, and then in the last one we had the Kate Taylor, or not Kate I forget what her, no, President Taylor, Kate Taylor, and she was kind of a combination of both, where she went both ways depending on the situation, which went both ways. I was thinking it too. But what I was saying is they've all been extraordinary presidents. This seems to be in a sense that Heller's just the regular old boy Washington politics type guy, and he's unfortunately that's the norm. What politicians do, he wouldn't know about that. I agree with what you're saying, Joe. In theory, a politician should know that, but in practice, a lot of times it's more accurate that they don't know the stuff that they have.
Okay, yeah, maybe some schmuck congressman or senator or something, but that's never worked on one of those safety councils or whatever. But this is a guy that's the president of the United States for however long now.
You got to figure. You get a feeling like it's towards the end of his first term. The dude would like to add that while she wants Heller to pay, and if he doesn't, she'll claim that it was his fault that thousands died. Yeah, it's a great plan by.
Oh yeah, but that's bullshit. That if Heller turns himself in, she's just gonna okay. Here's your 10 military drones back.
Yeah, it's that age-old thing where the criminal has a gun to the person's head. To Joe, if we're ever in a situation where you have a gun on you, and a criminal has a gun to my head, putting it down. Yeah, don't put it down. Try to RoboCop him.
Yeah, realize I'm a bad shot. I might wing you, but I'm gonna just start unloading.
Yeah,
you go down into the left.
Down into the left. Deal.
To your left. Down to your left.
Stage left. Okay. Hopefully the person that's gonna shoot us isn't listening to this. Let's hope that person. Thank goodness we get higher ratings on the Game of Thrones podcast.
But rather than down and to the left, you go down and away from the gun. Down.
Now I'm just thinking of JFK back and to the left. Back.
Right. Exactly. So.
As Kara said, as soon as they know you won't attack civilians, they will post them at every outpost. Yeah, no, it's true. As like Kara says on Deep Space Nine, as soon as they know that you won't shoot civilians, they'll attack civilians. They'll start shooting them at every post, and it's true. That's absolutely, and it goes to Michael Corleone bringing the guy outside to fake to have a gun. You can have the threat of violence can serve a big barrier, but if they know the person won't shoot, they'll kill civilians anytime they can. Right. So Heller is, he says that if she bombs the civilians, kind of what the dude was saying, plausible deniability, yeah, that she's got the higher ground here, or she's got the moral ground here, I think is what he says, and Audrey, and this is one of those things that even though he's got dementia or whatever he's got, that he still seems to get it on some levels, and he gets exactly what Steve was just saying, what the dude was saying, that she is setting this up perfectly for he's in a no-win position here. If he does nothing and people die, it's his fault. If he turns himself in, as we pointed out, she's gonna kill those innocent people. She's gonna kill all those innocent people, and no matter what happens, he's kind of up against it, and I think he was up against it in the sense that if he goes out and speaks about this now, he didn't know about these. What, is he going to lie to the public? Or is he going to come straight out and be like, I didn't know about this. My underlings hid this from me, and this is my fault. Is he going to quiz show them, go up there and give the I cheated at the quiz show? But
okay, so like we're saying, because this is does he know, doesn't he know, plausible deniability, all this stuff. What, do they have just that bad of TV and entertainment in the future that nobody could have even fathomed this on any series or any movie that, to me, there does not exist a world where a guy on this level is going to not be able to fathom that this is a possibility.
No, I hear you.
Plausible deniability in this sense. You're bombing people. Explosions kill more than just what it explodes on.
Do you think he's just being a little, just trying to take the high ground? Don't attack me, Anakin. I've got the high ground. Do you think he's just trying to step up and take the high ground here and take the moral objective? Because ultimately, you want me on that line, man. You need me on that line. I mean,
but did you order the frickin' code red?
He did.
Order the code red.
Goddamn right I did, Joe. Goddamn right I did. And so Heller says that when she bombs civilians, half the world will agree with her. Now, Jack is brought in.
That's right. Kiefer was in that movie as well. Good call,
wow. Katie. Thank you, Katie. He absolutely was. he played Hendrick, I think is.
Yeah.
Hendrick.
Yeah. Sorry. sergeant or lieutenant or captain or something.
He was Jack Nicholson's main guy. That was back when Jack Bauer was in the special forces that they talk about in the show. Jack had special forces training. That's what they're talking about.
Oh, that's fucking perfect.
Daddy has a little bit of vampire blood, and there was that whole summer he spent with Emilio Estevez shooting things.
That's why he moves so quickly and silently throughout the show.
Vampire, and he's got the great shot from hanging out with Billy the Kid, too, you know. So he's just that's why Jack Bauer is who he is. It's like, you know, like Chuck Norris has the training with Bruce Lee thing.
And of course, you know, that was at Guantanamo Bay where the terrorists are being kept as well. So
it's all connected, man. It's a don't think for a second it isn't. End of 48 hours. Yes, it's like the end of 48 hours. So Heller says that when she bombs civilians, half the world's going to agree with her. Now here we go. Jack Bauer's finally brought back into this episode at this point, and I guess this is what I have to say about the episode. Whether we agree with some of the stuff's happening, whether it's silliness, I gotta say that I was the main. It's something like Game of Thrones or something like all these other shows that we talk about. It's a good or a bad thing. It does this work? The story structure fit here? With 24, I have a different measuring stick. Am I entertained by this? And the whole first half.
That's it.
Whole first half of the episode was like I was eating popcorn. I was on crack. My heart was beating crazy, and that's what I want from my 24. And that's all I can expect from it. And
I want popcorn now, man.
Yeah, it's all. We've got a popcorn popper. It was worth the $20. Get it? It's amazing. We were eating too much.
A Audrey thing that stands in the corner.
No, it's like one of those whirly pops that you turn the crank and stuff like that, and you put in just a little bit of oil. I've got to say, we were eating too much microwave popcorn, which goes great with television. This commercial is brought to you by Healthy Things You Can Do. And we were like, we can't eat this much microwave popcorn. This stuff's horrible for you. So we went out and we spent $20 and we got a popcorn popper. And honestly, it's like one of the best things we've got.
A pan.
It works.
Pot with oil.
It works as well. That works as well, but this is even cooler and even more effective. We've done it both ways, and we have. And the Whirly Pop has been around for hundreds of years for a reason. It's really freaking cool. It has a built-in crank, so it spins it and turns it, so you don't get any burnt pieces. You get every piece of popcorn, even and delicious. Amazing. Okay, enough of that. So, this podcast is brought to you by the Whirly Pop.
I want me some popcorn now. I really do.
By the Whirly Pop. So Heller and Jack are face to face. Jack's brought in by the guards in cuffs. Heller tells them to get out of there, that he's going to talk to Jack. Audrey looks nervous.
And they took the cuffs off too when he left. Did you notice that?
They did. Jack waits on, because Jack's not going to do anything in this situation. Say what you want about Jack Bauer, he does have respect for the presidency, for the office of president. I know
the Russian president,
the American president. Or unless the president tries to kill him, then he doesn't have any respect for anybody. So Jack waits on Heller, and Heller kicks open the door and asks the guards to leave him alone with Jack Bauer. Heller tells Jack that they confirm that Margot has the 6 drones under her control and are heading for London. He tells Jack about the video and says we need to stop the attacks if he surrenders himself. And he asks Jack if he has any info that can help catch them. He says he knows an arms dealer that he trusts that he can contact. Heller asks the name, but Jack's like, I'm not giving you the name. This guy's been in the hardest prisons in the world. If you guys come to him, he's just going to run. I'm the only one that can talk to him.
Yeah, this is kind of strange, too, this whole...
Jack playing his hand. And then the guy goes, Heller goes, you want me to put you back in action, Jack Bauer? And Jack Bauer goes, yeah, that's the only chance you got. Jack, I'm not stupid. Listen, I'm not going to give you the name. Jack, hey, you think you learned anything in your 4 years of exile? I learned that I have the upper hand, and I'm going to speak like this. And if I speak like this, it means I'm really mad because I'm Jack Bauer. I think I broke Joe. So Jack will not give him the information because he's Jack Bauer. So he's Batman. And that's why I'm wearing a Batman shirt, because I think Jack Bauer has been studying Christian Bale's Batman voice, because he's kind of talking like that. I'm Jack Bauer. I'm good. You better know.
Only I
that only I have the information that you need, Gordon.
I
And
am the doctor.
I'm gonna kill that little Joffrey right on the top of the building before he has a chance to become king. So
he could have ended it all. He could have. Oh.
he could have ended the madness right there. They would never leave him alone with the president in reality. You're absolutely right, Steve. They would never leave Jack Bauer. With everything that Jack Bauer's through, I don't care how much the president said, I'm okay, they wouldn't let him alone. Just for a little bit of real information, John F. Kennedy once, when he was in Boston, escaped his motorcade for like 2 seconds to go into a Brigham's to get an ice cream. They like shut off a city block and tackled everyone that was standing in the Brigham's talking to him just to get him out of there. That's how protective they are of a president before we've had an assassination attempt recently on a president, with what happened to Reagan, not that long ago, 20, 30 years ago, which in retrospect isn't that long. And
So they did such a good job at the Brighams. They were patting themselves on the back when he went into Austin.
Well, we don't have to get
good job at the Brighams.
We can
shut that city block down like that.
You know what we should do? We should take off the bubble top. We don't need that. That's probably a good idea.
Dude, too soon, man.
What do we say? The Daler? Oh no, we'll save that joke. We gotta save that joke for the video. Not soon enough. Oh wait. So he tells Jack about the video, as we said, and Jack says he needs him to get out of there to reestablish contact. Keller asks if he wants to get back in the field. He says that the Russians have a hard-on for him. I believe he actually does say that. And Jack says he refuses, that he will give himself up as soon as the threat is neutralized. And this is one of those things that I do believe Jack would do this. I believe that he would actually turn himself in. If the president went with him right here, agreed to it right now, he probably would have thought. Also, they would have rushed them into a bunker. Yeah, they would have, absolutely. And he tells Heller it's his way or the highway, and Heller asks if he's learned anything, and we said that before. Jack says he hopes that he'll let him out of there in time before it's too late. Heller's told that the Prime Minister of England is on his way, and he needs to step out, and he says, Jack, think about it.
And here's the thing. He knows that they don't negotiate with terrorists, and Jack Bauer is a terrorist trying to negotiate to go kill more terrorists. But it's this big conundrum and, paradox, continuum.
But it connects to something Jack said to Heller in the last episode. I'm only a terrorist because your stupid, dumbass government decided to set me up and force me to do evil things to become a terrorist because you set up all this shit on me because President Taylor...
But it's more than just a setup, because what's-her-name comes in right after Heller walks out of... Heller said... Okay, let's cut to this. Heller says, no, too bad, Jack. It's my way or the highway. Jack says, no, well, it's my way or the highway. And he walks out of the room, and his daughter walks in.
It's 2 scenes away, but we'll get with that in a second. But I just want to fill you in with a little bit of backstory of Season 8 of 24. Jack was in the right, doing the right thing. And then the president, because she was in bed with the ex-president, the president, Taylor, was in bed with the ex-president Logan.
Like was, proper in bed?
No, in a bad scheme with the president to sign this deal. It was almost It was almost like the Khitomer Accord in Star Trek. It was like a peace deal, but it was a whole bunch of murder and all this evil stuff that led up to the peace deal. And because of all this, she set up Jack Bauer and made it look like a whole bunch of shit that wasn't really Jack Bauer's fault, was his fault. And he found out that she betrayed him, and everyone he trusted in his whole country betrayed him and set him up in the situation. So he went out as the Punisher, basically, and went and killed pretty much everybody responsible for how they wronged him, including kidnapping the Russian president and threatening him at gunpoint until he admitted his culpability to the situation as well. And then he went into exile. The president went back on her word to the bad guys and decided to turn over and become a good guy again, and gave Jack Bauer called him on the phone, apologized how the country let him down, and gave him an hour head start to go run off as Jack Bauer went off staring into the camera. She gets Chloe to shut off the
your hour starts now.
So that is how so for whatever it's worth, when we get into that scene which is 2 scenes away with Audrey and Jack, what Jack is saying is true. He did kill those people, but there's more to it than that. He killed those people.
But there isn't any more to it than that because he's a soldier, period. And you know what? Soldiers get sent to the front line knowing by the commanders that they are going to die. Maybe not specifically this one soldier, but, 30% of my soldiers in this battle are going to die, and they are sent to their deaths to do so. He's a different kind of soldier. He's a secret agent.
Whatever it's worth, Joe, I agree with you.
Die because I say so, then you're going to die because she says so, and if you don't, you're a terrorist.
I agree.
The whole job and everything is to do that.
I agree with you in principle, but again, it gets into the whole few good men thing. Is it your responsibility as a soldier? What if the orders are wrong? What if where's your responsibility as a soldier when your commanding officer can be a little cuckoo in the cabeza, and you need to figure out that they're telling you the wrong things and do the right things? And that there's a lot of cases in history.
I was only following orders.
I was only following orders. And then they say you shouldn't have been following orders, and you end up in trouble for following orders. I mean, there's a line that you need to. I mean, I'm not in the military. I've never been in anything quite like that. The closest association I can think of is playing like sports or something, playing football, and I know it's not even close to the same thing. So I'm not trying to compare it, but I have no point of reference to the point of like where do you lose complete individuality? Are you supposed to ever question the orders of a higher-up if you think that they're completely out of line? Do you go to a higher-up?
You're allowed to, but you know who you bring it to?
The higher-up's higher-up.
No. You bring it to the person that you have the problem with. Like if it's your captain that is doing something you think is wrong, you're not supposed to go beyond the chain of command. So you go to your lieutenant. Your lieutenant is supposed to go to your captain. Your lieutenant says, "Shut up."
But we have a good example of this in the Michael J. Fox movie Casualties of War when Sean Penn and all his whole crew of all the commanding officers rape a girl, and he needs to report that crime to the authorities, and he reports it to his higher up, and they tell him to go shove it, and he reports it to another higher up, and they tell him to go shove it. So he has to eventually take it to somebody that would.
And he gets pissed for going outside the chain of command.
Yes, but did he do the right thing? It's. I mean, I don't want to get too into. I think it's a bigger question.
Of course, he did the right thing.
Of course he did, and I think in some ways Jack Bauer did do the right thing. He got carried away, though. No doubt, he got carried away.
Because he became Dredd.
Yeah.
He can't become Dredd.
He became the killing Batman. So Margot asks Naveed,
the
Margot and Naveed scene, where he asks Naveed if they're on schedule, and he says they are. He says he wants to see Simone, and she says, finally, you go see Simone. He kneels by the bed, and he whispers to her. He says that she needs a doctor. He tells her also that he has set a certain code that's going to lead the good guys to the bad guys' headquarters. So we flash over to, and he tells her to pack a bag, be ready to leave, because he's going to tell the authorities when they get there that she had nothing to do with all of this, and he's going to go down and he's going to make sure that his wife is safe.
And here's the thing, he only has a 50% chance that she didn't take her finger being cut off as not Margot's fault, but his fault.
Yeah,
if he hadn't have been stupid and not done and said the things that he was going to do, she'd still have a finger.
I hate to say it, but you're right, he never even entertained the thought that maybe she's pissed about her daddy, too.
Doing the things that she has to do to achieve the ultimate goal, which is what they said earlier, no matter what that is, sleeping with whoever, killing whoever, he's just part of that ultimate goal. It's very naive, and
Joe's head's about to explode here.
Well, because this whole part was very TV cliche to me. And then like Dave Navarro being all like gung ho to go rush into the building, and then Kate being all, let me get in touch with Chloe. Like it was very entertaining, but it was driving me mad because I could see it all coming.
Because you'd see it all coming, and it was very tropey. I hear what you're saying, but I think there's no doubt that 24 is a very much uses a lot of
formulaic.
Formulaic. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Very formulaic. But when it's good, it doesn't matter. It's again like, if you enjoy a good Sylvester Stallone blow-up slides kicking everyone, if you enjoy Tango and Cash, it's not a good movie. It's just a fun movie.
Yeah, exactly. It was entertaining. It was fun to watch.
And Jordan finds the IP because it was back and forth. But I agree with you. It's you know where this is gonna get. I haven't been surprised by anything yet that's happened. There hasn't been one thing that I'm like, oh my god, I can't.
Well, I was surprised at one thing. Yeah,
which one?
Gordon, isn't it? But the one thing that surprised me was when Simone stabbed Patrick in the side of the head.
Okay,
I was like, ooh, I like that, and that explains quite a bit as to why she wasn't just like.
And I think that you got to give credit to the actress there playing the dumb ditzy blonde role very, very well in that first part of that episode where you weren't even thinking about her as a possible threat.
That was a nice little.
Very successful at that. So Jordan, our evil Milo, found the IP address that Naveed planted, but isn't sure if that's good or lucky. He pulls it up and tells Dave Navarro that he needs to go to the estate. Navarro says, "I'm going to lead the team," and he asks Ritter if he minds, and Ritter's like, "I don't mind. Let's go, be the complete do." And the Secret Service guy says it. Oh, and then here we go. This is our scene we were talking about a second ago. A very emotional scene in the episode, and I think was very, very effective in what they were trying to do here. There's a knock on the door. You knew this was going to happen, and the Secret Service guy says it's okay to come in, and Jack stands in shock, and yes, it is. It is Jack and Audrey facing...
Lovers reunite.
Yes, they're reuniting, and they're both tearing up. He knows she's married, asks if she's happy. Is the husband good to her? Which she doesn't respond. She just keeps coming closer to him, and saying if she knew he was alive, she would have defended him more. And then they start like Eskimo fucking. I mean, kissing.
Yeah, they rest heads on each other. They get.
They're head fucking each other. It was hot.
It's an intimate moment. It's an intimate thing that lovers do.
Yeah, I gotta say, it was very emotional, and I was feeling. I got a little misty eyed, and I got a little turned on. It was a very sexy, emotional scene, especially if you followed which she's not my favorite of Jack's significant others, but they had been through probably more than any of his other ones with everything she's been through, and thinking about the last time that they saw each other, and she was basically catatonic the last time that Jack saw her.
Why did she have 2 seasons? She went through more. She went through 48 hours instead of just 24 hours. With
might have even gone through 72 hours, or
so she's a multiple season character.
Yeah, she was definitely in. I think she was in 3 seasons.
Okay.
At least 2, maybe 3. This might be her 4th, because she has one season where she's just Jack's like girlfriend, basically. She has another season where she is around, and then she has a season where she searches for Jack, and then comes back halfway through the season as catatonic, when she comes back from like she's been captured and tortured for a long extended period of time. So
she stays at the corner of the wall.
She just kind of she's been so traumatized by the experience she can't even, because she went looking for Jack at a point in time.
How many times did Jack look longly at her, looking longly into the nothingness?
It was emotional. Jack was willing to sit there and stare at that face for eternity. So their faces were pressed together, and it was a really good scene between them.
And he admits to her at that point, once their heads are together, I did it. I killed all those people. Yeah. I did what they said.
I killed them all. And she said, "It doesn't matter, Jack. Please kiss me, Jack. Please kiss me." And Jack won't kiss her. He says, "Please stop. Please."
Right, well, she doesn't even ask, like, why or how could you, or she just does not give a crap. Like, it's okay, you're...
Kill anybody you want, Jack.
Right.
As long as you kiss me. Jack, you can murder anyone you want. Jack, you can murder anyone you want as long as you make out with me now. Do it, Jack. Right now. I've been watching Lost Boys on repeat, constantly dreaming of you. And I had to hook up with Jason Patrick. Don't let me do that ever again. So we get our conversation with
that movie had some very nice mullets in it all around.
It really did. It was the king of the 80s mullets there. That's such a cornerstone 80s movie.
Oh, I miss the Coreys. I really do.
One's still kicking.
Yeah. I'm still upset at the Academy for the complete snub when he died. They didn't throw his picture up there in the remember him section. I was very upset about that.
Well, hopefully we'll get a little. I'm sure Corey Feldman will do some Corey Haim press when he does press for Goonies too. So the Prime Minister is.
Brolin going to be in it?
Yes, they all are.
They all are.
They all are.
Even Short Round?
They're all going to be there apparently. So Davies, the Prime Minister, asks how's
the big guy.
I'm not talking about Goonies.
He's dead. He's dead, so he won't be in it.
No more Goonies. So the octopus isn't going to be in there. Yeah, throw Mama from the Train's not going to be there. Joey Pants will probably be the only Fratelli in the movie. So Davies asks how can they know? Jason, what the hell is going on in America? We don't have this kind of messed up action happening in Britain. You've never seen us do anything wrong in history. And he says that they have to feed so they can watch the monitors in the operation. Kate comes in to stand by Jordan to watch the feed on the big screen. Jordan tells Kate that she should be the one leading this mission, not Navarro. He says he will take credit for everything that she figured out. Kate steps aside and calls Chloe. Kate says that it seemed too easy, and this is what Joe was saying, and I agree. It was just she just suddenly has the Jedi mind meld to figure this all out, the weird psychic energy, and she wants Chloe to check out this IP address and to say open up a socket and take a look at it and see and take a look one more time. Then
to do that, she's like, well, can't you just do that? And she's like, I'm good, but I'm not that good. You're going to have to, like, plug me into another secure channel. Like, opening up a whole world for Adrian and Free Cell, or whatever the hell their name is.
Open Cell.
Free
Cell. I'm calling them the Second Sons. No, I hear what you're saying, and it's absolutely true that their trust... Adrian is setting this up, and I think it's also interesting that Adrian saw this, but he spotted this in a second, but he also didn't spot this other thing that was in there that Chloe finds in a second later, and Chloe couldn't see it the first time, but she saw it the second time. Like, it's just a little...
Oh, no, they were looking at two different things. One was the flight data from the drones, and the other one was the videotape threat demanding Heller.
No, I hear you. It just seems
two different
okay. Things. Thank you. It just seems like sometimes people are conveniently stupid on the show. Yes, like they're stupid for like a moment, and then
they never watched an episode of any TV where you shouldn't go to the first house that you find as a lead. There's a trap there.
I'm sorry, but like I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more, Joe, because when I'm in real life situations, the first thing I do when I'm in a weird real life situation is I compare it to TV, and I do that. I think about that. I go, how is this like TV? And let me think of the obvious things, and I honestly do that. So
like for example, if it's 2 a.m. and you're driving through Lynn and you're like, oh my God, I need to get gas, and you stop at a store, you put things away before you get out of the car because you've seen on TV a million people get mugged or murdered.
Yeah, in gas stations at night. Yeah, I always lock my doors when I get in the night or I always look in my back seat before I get in the car because I've seen Child's Play and you never know there might be some horrible Chucky doll in the back seat of your car that you don't know. You never can tell when Chucky might be in the back of your car. That's all I'm saying. Everybody, if you're listening to this on your phones and you got your earpieces in right now, look behind you and make sure there's not a Chucky doll in your car. Don't get into an accident. Don't sue me if you get into an accident.
Always look in the back seat before you get in the car.
Before you get in the car. That's what I meant. Before you get, not while you're driving. Don't look at
not in the mirror. It's before you get in. You look through the rear window. You look, and then you get in.
So Chloe talks Kate through how to hack the servers of the CIA to open cell. So that happened. Yep, that happened right there. So after that all happens, Margot comes in and she tells Naveed that Ian has been studying him and he figured out how to pilot the drones and the authorities are not coming. And he says, what do you mean the authorities aren't coming? She said, I found your message that you left and I left a fake message of the message you left. Ha ha ha. I outsmarted you. And she apparently was watching him good after the first, and this is where Naveed's really stupid because after the first time that he finds out that she's been watching watching him, you would think that he would probably try to be a little bit more careful in setting up this whole situation. This kid's too dumb to live.
Yeah.
What the hell did he think he was getting involved with? I mean, why did he even get involved with it in the first place? Why didn't he say no at the beginning if he was going to get involved? Why did he start to date this girl once he found out she had a crazy batshit family? I mean, really, it gets to the point where he's like, no one will say this to you, but I've known for a long time that you're X, Y, and Z.
Maybe it's one of those things, like where he's from, everybody talks about going to kill the president of the United States, but nobody ever actually does it.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And so Margot tells that Ian's been studying and he can pilot the drones, and he has the guards beat the shit out of him and drag him out of there. And he says the upload will be done in 5 minutes. Make sure that none of the guys and that all the teams of the CIA will be going into the fake building. Make sure that no one gets out of there alive. We'll be ready for them.
Right, and we'll know. And Naveed is like, oh, but you can't kill me. I'm the only one that knows how to do it. And she's like, oh, well, he's the one that found your little secret code. And he's been watching you, and we think he knows how to fly it now. So we'll see.
I asked last week why can't Ian just do it to begin with? So I'm glad that this season, again, this season of 24 is not taking the stupid excuses in a lot of situations. It's actually answering those questions. You're like, why can't that other guy? Oh, he is going to do it. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, thank you. He just needed to study him for hours.
Yeah, I mean, you're flying a drone aircraft. I mean, it's like you just went over to your friend's house and he's got a remote control plane, and you're like, can I fly it? And he's like, no, you don't know how to fly my remote control plane. Yep. It's like, 2 sticks.
Like, we've all played Afterburner at the arcade. I mean, we all know how to do it. So Chloe tells, we go back to Chloe and Adrian, and Chloe tells Adrian that she's staying to help with the tape. And she says she's not joining the CIA, but she is going to help. She argues with him, and he starts pushing her, being like, no, you got to come, you can't stay this. And finally we get some Belichick action. Belichick steps in and goes, no. He's got all the charm of Khal Drogo, this guy. He's just like, no. Do not touch Chloe. I love Chloe. Or something. He basically tells the guy to leave her alone, and this guy goes, okay, Belichick, I know you can kill me. I'm sorry, I'm out of here. We're criminally lack of Belichick this season. We need more Belichick.
Chloe makes one more appeal to Adrian. Says, please help me.
And he refuses, and he leaves.
And you can see all the little nerdlings are like, one of them at least. It really wants to seems like they want to help also. Like, they're altruistic. They are all about, this isn't something that hurts people, this is something that helps people, and I think they're just pawns of Adrian at this point.
Yeah, Adrian seems to obviously have more nefarious desires,
like
where
a cult leader almost with these nerdlings.
Right, where the rest of them seem to think that they got roped in this thinking that they were patriots of some sort. That they were getting the proper information that governments are keeping from people. That they had an interesting mission statement that Adrian might be using these good people, as you said, like a cult leader, to further his own agenda. So, but Belichick kind of, doesn't.
Which is why he says to her, I love you, Chloe, and she says, well, then help me, and he says, no, I'm leaving.
Nope. So
I love you, so you need to do what I want you to do, not I love you, so I'm going to do what you want me to do. Yeah. It's very culty.
He just loves her doggy style. He's trying to manipulate her right there. And Open Cell abandons Chloe for now.
What Chloe face would she turn around and give you?
Jack. Yeah, pull out, Jack. Don't finish.
The snail face. Jack. You're an angry handy.
The bad lunch face. So the car pulls up outside the estate, and Ritter and Navarro are both in. They sneak in through the woods as Jordan and Kate watch from the television at home. They come up behind the house, but they're still a few hundred yards away, and they have clearance to proceed as they head in. Now we've got the Prime Minister and the President watching. We've got pay-per-view action.
Prime Minister played by Stephen Fry, Gordon. He's really good.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're actually using him. It's like when you cast Stephen Fry as someone, you can't just have him just.
Did we skip the scene where? Did you talk about that he's telling the Prime Minister that this is going to happen?
No, we talked about that.
Okay.
And Heller tells the other He tells them we're going to sit down and watch, and they all watch. Ian tells Margot that they're within firing range in 2 minutes. The CIA is at the house, and they pop open the door, and they're looking. They don't find anything in the house. They're looking through the downstairs. But Chloe finds something on the video, and she calls Kate up. And she says, Kate, there's a missing security buffer, and there's a team in there now. Get your guys out of there now. And Kate calls Navarro and tells him to get the hell out of there and get out. And he listens to her right away. He doesn't argue with her. He's like, okay, Kate must be right.
Doesn't he say, how did you find that, or something like that? He asks her something like, how do you know?
I think he just says, we just need to bail now, I believe is what he says.
Okay.
We just need to get out of here now. She says the team is in there now. Chloe says it's a trap. I think all she needed to say to him was, Benjamin Bratt, it's a trap. So that was all that needed to happen. So it's a trap. And so bam, we get a drone attack on the house, and the house blows up as
they get out. They get out.
They sort of get out.
Navarro and Ritalin, what's his name? Ritter. They get out, and then they go running back to go. Someone else didn't get out in time, and they wanted to go back and see if they could get the other people out in time. And just as they're getting back, and the last two people are coming out, the drone strike hits, and everything goes
huge fire. Yeah, huge fireball, huge explosion. Really good effects there. Good scene. Yeah, no, not yet. Not doot yet. And after that, we get Kate talking on the trying to call Dave Navarro, being like, "Please, Navarro, are you alive? Are you alive?" And we didn't get anything. No response. So here we go. There's some agents alive and moving. Margot comes downstairs and tells Naveed that Ian has proven himself. She takes out the gun, and he begs her not to do it. Says that the daughter would not want him to die. And then the daughter comes downstairs and gives him that Abe Vigoda, when he's trying to beg for his life at the end of Godfather and Tom Hagen. Eddie Murphy does this joke great. He just gives him that Godfather, like, no chance now, you're dead. And she just gives him the cold eyes, and Catelyn Stark goes, listen, I think you've got your answer. And bam, bam, bam.
1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, gives him. I think she even shot him sideways. She did like the side gun. She did like the
gangsta gun.
yo, bam, 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 bam. And Simone doesn't care. And then we get our beep, beep, beepity, beepity, beep. And that is the end of our episode. And before we finish up, I don't usually talk about this, but I do want to talk a few seconds about more about the whirly pop. Because here are the issues. No, I'm kidding. I want to talk about scenes from next week. Because we did see in our scenes for next week that that the president's going to have to take Jack up on his idea. He's going to release him and put him back in the field. And Jack calls Agent Kate Morgan as his partner, and then the two of them are going to go off and get into some shit. So it seems like.
And there you go. And there's Ritter was fodder. If he might not have made it out of the blast. That's why he never got too deep and never got too smart about anything and didn't have too much, because now he's dead, and this is our mode to get the two blonde chick and the blondes together.
Also, the writers want that Return the Jedi feeling, and here we go again. Interesting. And I think one squad didn't get out, Steve says. Yes, I think one squad at least was stuck in there and died, and I think we're going to find that either Brat and the other guy, I'm blanking his name, Ritter. Are going to be really injured. One of them may be dead, or both of them might be injured and just not being able to control the CIA right now, which will force them into bringing Jack Bauer in to control things. And I think it's going to be interesting to see where the second act of this season goes with Jack, with now the second half with Jack being back in the field working for the CIA, which again, if you listen back to the first episode that we did, we called from the very first episode that it would just be a matter of episodes before Jack was back in the field at CIA again. So I can't believe we made it. We did it. We made it through this episode of 24. Everybody, thank you for tuning into the post-episode issues. We are here again on Sunday to finally talk about the fight of the century, the Mountain versus the Viper. No one gets between the Stark girls. Yes, thank you. We have to thank Steve, the dude, for checking out the show and being a part of being the email male over there. Given the Tex-Mex, I don't know, being our great friend, maybe we can get Steve on one of these 24 casts calling in, get a little verbal dude next time to get him call into the action. I can try to figure out how to do that so he can call right from his little telephone lying in his bed. and join us in for some fun and get his thoughts on next week's 24. But everybody, thank you. If you've made it this far and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody that's been checking out the 24 and the Game of Thrones casts and any of our convention coverage. We'll have some more convention coverage coming up in the next couple of weeks. Some more stuff from our adventures, and also have Walker StalkerCon coming. So we got a lot more convention coverage this summer and a lot more fun. But again, we will be back on Sunday, or our next podcast will be about Game of Thrones. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night. We'll be back next time. Goodbye.